Hi, welcome once again to our YouTube channel. Thanks for subscribing to our channel. Really appreciate you. Quickly, we want to look at the Neco 2024 Agric Science Practical Specimen. So we're discussing all of the specimens one after the other. We itemize them, we list them out for you to know, and then we talk about some characteristics or possible questions that you'll be coming across in the course of the exam. So without wasting much of our time, we started with the first specimen, which is the specimen A. Specimen A happens to be the hand fork. That is what we were given. We were given the hand fork as our specimen A, and our specimen B we were told to get the garden fork. Specimen C is the hand trowel, while specimen D is the knapsack sprayer. Specimen E is the poultry dropping, and specimen F is the cow dung. Specimen G is the NPK fertilizer. Specimen H is lime, which is also called calcium carbonate, and specimen I is onion bulb. Specimen J is the yam tuber. Specimen K is the cassava tuber. Specimen L is ginger rhizome. Specimen M is fresh meat. Specimen N is tapeworm. Specimen O is roundworm, while specimen P is the last specimen, which is the tick. So these are the specimens that we were given for this year's Agric Science Practical. So we'll be talking about all of these specimens one after the other, helping us to get familiarized with them right about now. So we're moving straight to talk about the first specimen, which is the hand fork. The hand fork is a small handheld device. It is a garden tool which is actually used by gardeners or farmers to actually help them plant to actually help them on small plants and seedlings. This tool is also called another name, which is also known as the weeding fork. Now, it is called the weeding fork because of one of its major uses, which is actually for weeding. It is actually used for pruning or to weed some plants or some weeds in a garden. So those are the major uses of this particular instrument. So it is called the weeding fork because it is used in digging up weeds. Now we look at the description of this particular instrument. Is like I said, it is a small instrument, so it has a wooden, plastic or metal handle. Some of them come with metal or plastic handles, and the olden types we have them coming with the wooden handle. Now this particular instrument has three sturdy tines. These tines we call them the prongs. They look like the fork, the normal fork that we use in eating, but it has three of the tines, and it has a small size, or it is similar to the hand trowel. It is small in size, or it is similar to the hand trowel, and this makes it very handy when it comes in use in confined spaces or in spaces that are very, very small. Example like in containers or borders or closely planted beds. So major uses of this particular instrument are the things that I've listed here. I said that it is used in cultivating the soil. It is also used for light weeding. It is also used in transplanting seedlings from the nursery to the actual beds. Also, it is used in aerating the soil. We actually use it to make soil very aerated, and then it is also used in mixing additives or fertilizers into the soil. So these are the things that we need to know about the hand fork. So perhaps you want to see some pictures. This is what the picture of the hand fork looks like. You can see it. This is the part that I called the handle. Now this part here has a wooden handle. This part here you can see it, and it has three tines. These prongs here, these are the things that we said that are three in number. So those are the tines, and there we have the shaft here at the neck. So that is basically what the hand fork looks like. You can see this is another picture of what we are talking about. Now this one has a plastic handle. You can see the plastic handle here, and then it has the shaft as well here, and then it has three tines. So that is what the hand fork looks like. This is another picture of it, and this is a label diagram of what we are talking about. You can see the tines, and there are three, and then the handle as well. So that is about what we have for our first specimen, specimen A. So we move over to our next specimen, which is specimen B, and that happens to be the garden fork. The garden fork is a specimen B, and it is also called the digging fork. Yes, because of its major use. We also use it as a digging fork or a spading fork, and this is because it is very important, a very important instrument used by gardeners. Now usually it is designed with 4 sharp tines, as opposing the hand fork that we just talked about previously. These ones here have 4 sharp tines, and they have square shouldered head. Yes, on the 4 sharp tines they are attached to what we refer to as the square shouldered head and a long handle. Originally they are made from wood, but now are made from metals and steels. The major uses are that they are used for pushing the garden fork into the soil, to loosen the soil, to break the soil into particles, particularly when the soil has clogged together. So you use this garden fork to break them into particles. It is also used to aerate the soil, as well as it used in the mixture of soil additives and fertilizers with the soil. We also use it to turn the soil upside down. We use it to turn the soil, making the underneath part of the soil come up for easier action of microorganisms, as well as using it to break up clogs. So those are the things that we use the garden fork for. So this here is an example of the picture that we're making mention of for the garden fork. Now I said it has a long handle. You can see the long handle here, and then it has a square shoulder. You can see the square shouldered head here. You can see it here having 4 tines, as opposing the hand fork that has 3 tines. This one usually has 4 tines. Now you need to understand that we have some other garden forks that have more than 4 tines, but majority of the garden forks, they have, or they come in 4 tines or 4 prongs. So that is basically what we have here. And you can see another picture here. This is another example of the picture of the garden fork. You can see the square shoulder, and then this is another picture of it when it is actually being used. You can see how it is being handled. So this is a diagrammatic expression of what we are talking about, a label diagram of the garden fork. So we have the handle grip here, we have the shaft here, and then the socket in which the shaft fixes into, and then we have the tines which are held on this square shoulder. So that is basically what we have for this particular specimen. And immediately we move over to the next specimen, which is our specimen C, and that is the hand trowel. The hand trowel is another agricultural instrument or tool that is used basically for the application of seeds and fertilizer. That is basically what we use it for. We use it to actually transplant seeds or seedlings from a nursery to the beds, and also we use it in the application of fertilizers. It is also used for pruning, as well as it being used to break up soil, particularly when the soil is hard, and it is used in digging small holes. We also use this particular instrument for transferring seedlings, like I said earlier on, from the nursery to the actual field or into pots. Now the description is, it is comparable to the spade or the shovel, but it is much smaller in size. It is designed to be used with one hand. It is designed to be held with one hand. So that is basically what the hand trowel is. So this is an example of what the picture of the hand trowel looks like. So this is the hand trowel. We can see it. We can see how it looks. We can see this part here, which is the handle. This is the handle, and then we have this other part here, which is actually the part that is being used to carry out its agricultural operations. So that is what the hand trowel looks like. You can see now some of them are made of plastic handles, some of them have rubber handles, some of them have wooden handles, like this one here. This previous one here has wooden handle, and this one here has rubber handle. You can see the rubber handle here with the actual metal part here. Now this is another picture of it. This is another picture of the hand trowel. Now it is different from the hand trowel that is used in concrete works. This one is the agricultural hand trowel. So that is what it looks like. So this is a label diagram of what the hand trowel looks like. So this part here is called the handle, and it has a hanging hole at this tip here, and then we have a ferrule connection here where the tank is being attached to, and then we have this part here which is the blade, and it is graded. That is why we have it having the depth gauge here. So that is about this specimen, and quickly we move over to the next specimen, which is specimen D, and that is the knapsack sprayer. The knapsack sprayer is an agricultural tool also that is used for the application of liquid materials, fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, water, everything that is in liquid form. We can use the knapsack sprayer to apply them to our farm, our field, or our crops. Now it is used manually by actually pressing on a lever completely continuously. usually you have to apply a manual force on a lever, and it is with this lever that is attached to an airtight pump that actually brings about the spraying of the chemicals inside the bucket of the knapsack sprayer. So with the description now, it has a bucket that houses the material to be sprayed, and it is usually carried on the back. Yes, it is the operator that carries the knapsack sprayer on his back, and the operator fastens it to the back using the straps that it has. This knapsack sprayer comes with some straps, but 2 in number. It comes with the straps, so the operator will carry them on the back, having the lever on the left hand side. The operator will be moving the lever in a continuous manner up and down, to and fro, and the continuous movement of that lever brings about the pumping of the liquid or the contents of the bucket inside the bucket through the airtight pump out of a particular nozzle that will be held on the other hand of the knapsack sprayer. So basically that is what the knapsack sprayer looks like. So here, this is what the knapsack sprayer that we're talking about look like. We can see. So this is the lever that I'm talking about. So it is being carried on the back. It has its strap. So the operator will be pushing this lever up and down continuously, and the continuous pushing or pressing of this lever is what pumps the content of this tank here through this airtight chamber here. It pumps the liquid out of this part here, and so the person will need to press this handle here. When the person presses this handle, when the operator presses this handle, the liquid is pumped out of this particular nozzle. So that is basically what that particular specimen is talking about. So this is another picture of the specimen. You can see it. So this is a labeled diagram of the specimen that we're talking about. So we can see this is the nozzle here. So when the lever is being pressed, you can see, okay, starting from the strap, you can see the back strap here. It is with these straps that the operator will mount the knapsack sprayer, and then it is being pumped using this particular lever. So continuous rocking of this lever is what brings about the pumping of the content of this sack, of this bucket here, through this air chamber here. This is the pump that actually does the pumping of the content out of the nozzle. So once this is being rocked up and down, it causes this air chamber to actually pump out the contents through the nozzle. So the person will have to press the handle to be able to pump the content out of the nozzle. So that is about the knapsack sprayer, and immediately we move over to the next specimen, which is specimen A, and that is poultry dropping. Talking about the poultry dropping, we're actually talking about waste that is released by poultry birds or poultry animals, particularly the fowls. So that is what we are talking about. So the feces of the fowl is what we are looking at for specimen A. Now this component is very, very essential, and the reason why it is being studied is because we need to understand its agricultural use. Now agriculturally, this particular specimen is very, very essential to plants, basically because it contains majority of the nutrients that the plants need for normal growth. Nutrients starting from the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, we have sulfur, we have manganese, we have copper, zinc, chlorine, so many of them that you cannot even continue to make mention of. All of these nutrients are very essential to the plant, and since they have been found in the poultry droppings, we have decided to make use of the poultry droppings as substances that can actually help to fertilize the soil so that the plants can do well. So these droppings are actually used in the making of compost. We use them to make compost manure, and then we apply them to the plants on the field. We apply them to the field so that the plants can actually absorb them. Now, if it is applied directly on the crops, in as much as we are applying them directly on the soil, on the crops, it can cause harm to the crops. So it is very essential, because when you apply them, it is also it may be organic, but it also has some very corrosive chemicals in them, so it can actually burn the crops. So it is advised that you actually apply them with care around, not just directly on the crop, but around the base of the crops on the field, and then you water, allowing these substances to decompose on the soil for the plants to be able to absorb them. Now other components of the compost, other things that you can find in addition to the poultry droppings in the compost, we have things like urine, we have the chicken manure which is also there, and other types of animal feces or animal waste. Now chicken manure is most suitable for making manure or making compost because it contains the highest amount of the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium combination. It is this particular poultry dropping that almost all farmers make use of in making their compost manure because of its content, because of the high content of the nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium that it has in it, and that is why it is highly sorted for. So looking at the substance now, we look at this. So this is what the poultry dropping looks like. We can see it. This has been pelletized. So that is what the poultry dropping looks like. We can also see it here. This is almost fresh. So that is what the poultry dropping looks like. You can see it's mixed with some feeds and feathers in this particular picture here. So that is what the poultry dropping that we're looking at, that is what it looks like. So we move over to the next specimen now, which is specimen F, and that is the cow dung. Cow dung is another component or another material that is used in making some other types of manure, and it is also called cow parts or cow manure. Now this is the waste of many bovine animals, particularly the cattle or the bison. We also have yak and the water buffalo producing their own dungs, and it is used as manure in some farms. Now cow dung is the undigested residue. Yes, how did we come about this cow dung, and why do we say that it is essential or it is useful in actually carrying out fertilization of the field for the plants? It is because it is produced from the undigested residue of plants or grass feeds that the animals are fed upon, which are undigested, which are not properly digested in their gut, is what has been released as the cow dung, and it is this that have actually been used as or that have been added to other components that have been used in the production of what we refer to as the fertilizer. Now it is not only used as the cow dung, it is not only used as in the process of making manure or compost manure fertilizer. We also have this cow dung used for other functions. Example, we use them as fuels. In the case of the we have the biogas fuel, so we use them as biogas fuel, we use them as fertilizer or manure. We also use them for coating floors and walls, as well as to repel mosquitoes. These are some of the things that we use this particular substance for. So when we look at this, we have examples that look this way. So this is an example of the cow dung. We can see what the cow dung here looks like. So that is what the cow dung looks like. We can also see this picture here as well. So that is basically what the cow dung is. We can see that as well. So immediately we move over to the next specimen, which is specimen G, and specimen G is talking about the NPK fertilizer. The NPK fertilizer, it is an inorganic fertilizer useful in promoting plant growth. Now this particular fertilizer is inorganic. It is not a natural, even if it is from natural elements, but it is not formed, or it is not found in natural form. So it is inorganic because it is actually synthesized, it is produced. It is not found produced from organic materials like the plants and animals. So it is actually being produced. Now it contains 3 very essential elements that are needed for normal plant growth, and these elements include the nitrogen, phosphorus and the potassium. These 3 elements are needed in large amounts, and that is why they are referred to as the macronutrients. We have the macronutrient elements that are required by plants or animals in large quantity, and then the micronutrients, those that are required in small quantity. So like we are saying, we have the NPK fertilizer, which is actually having the acronym N standing for nitrogen, the P stands for phosphorus and the K stands for potassium. So looking at these 3 elements now, they have their very major function in the combination. The nitrogen there promotes plant growth in seeds and fruits. That is the basic function. It breaks dormancy in seeds, so it promotes growth in seeds and fruits. And then the phosphorus helps to produce healthy flowers buds, roots and fruits. That is its own function. While in the case of the potassium, it helps the plants to actually sustain overall plant health. So basically these three elements, they are very essential for plants to do well, and that is why there is a formation or the formula that has been produced for different plants. So different plants have their own type of nutritional requirements. So we do not have all NPK formulas to be in the same proportion or in the same ratio. We have them in different ratios depending on the nutritional requirement or the nutritional need of the specific plants. So we have some of them that are found in this formula. We can see this one that is written here, 20-20-10. It means that the ratio of the nitrogen is 20, the ratio of the phosphorus is 20, and then the ratio of the potassium in this particular one here is 10. For this second scenario here, we are starting with the nitrogen to be 20 and the phosphorus is 10 while the potassium is 20. So it depends on the nutritional need of the specimen or the plant that they are being applied to that you have the formula being made. So this is what the NPK looks like. We have the nitrogen, phosphorus and the potassium. Now potassium is characterized with brown red color, while the phosphorus has harsh color or gray color, and then we have the nitrogen having fairly white color. So that is the formula there. So you can see it when it is being mixed together. So it is advised that you use gloves when you are handling this particular instrument, because when it comes in contact with water, it can actually affect the hand. So that is basically what this specimen there is talking. So the next specimen we have there is a specimen H, which is lime, and lime is calcium carbonate. That is the formula for lime. It is called calcium carbonate. That's the generic name. So the formula there is the CaCO3. That is what is being written here, CaCO3. Now this particular substance is added, it is a compound that is added to soil to improve crop yield. We actually add it to soil to improve crop yield. Now I need to make us understand that it is not actually a fertilizer. This substance is not a fertilizer, but it is added specifically to help the plant to absorb the nutrients that is found in the soil. It is not supposed to be considered as a fertilizer. Now the essence of adding it to the soil is because we need the plants to be able to absorb the nutrient that is found in the soil. But in scenarios where the soil is acidic, it will not be possible for the plant roots to absorb the nutrients in the soil, and so you need to make the soil basic, and so that is where the function of the lime comes in. So the essence of adding lime to the soil is to convert the acidity of the soil into a basic form. So it reduces acidity of soils by introducing basic substances into the soil, and that is the major function of the lime. So it does this by making the soil more basic. That is it. So it reduces the acidity of soil types, making it possible for the plant roots to absorb nutrients. So that is basically its function. So uses of functions now, like I said, it increases the pH of the soil from being acidic to alkaline. Also it provides source of calcium to the plant. Yes, it is a major source of calcium to the plant. It also improves water penetration for acidic soil, as well as it improving the uptake of major plant nutrients. All of these are the functions of the plant, of the lime or the calcium carbonate to the plant. So looking at this now, this is the picture of what you are talking about. This is the picture of the lime. You can see it in powdered form. This is another picture of lime, and it can also come in solid form like we are seeing here now. This one is found in solid form, crystalline in nature. So that is basically what the lime is talking about. The next specimen, which is specimen I, and that is the onion bulb. The onion bulb. Onion is a vegetable crop that grows on the ground. It is usually found growing on the ground. The actual part that is edible, which is the bulb itself, you see it growing on the ground, and it is very rich in many vitamins and minerals, as well as it being active in the force of acting as an antioxidant, helping to eliminate free radicals. When we look at the onions, we have basically two types. We have the white and the purple to brown onion. And when onion is dried, it is actually powdered. When it is dried and powdered, it serves or it is consumed as spice. Basically, it is consumed as spice. So when we look at the onion, we want to understand its classification and its botanical name. So this is what the classification looks like. We have the kingdom to the Plantae. It is a plant, so it belongs to the Plantae, and the phylum is the Trachyphyta. The class there is the Liliopsida. We have the order to be Asparagales. We have the family to be Aliaceae, and then the genus is Allium, while the species is Cepa. So that is what it is. So looking at that now, we have this botanical name written as the Allium Cepa. We can see how this botanical name is being written. The A in the Allium is written in capital letter, while the C in Cepa is written in small letter. Everything in the Cepa is written in small letter. For the whole of the botanical name, it is only the first letter that is written in capital letter. And then you have an underline, but you'll be having two underlines, each for the two words there. We have one under the Allium, which is the genus, and another underline under the Cepa, which is the species. So for this particular crop, we said that the placentation is axial. The placentation in onion bulb is axial. So we need to see what that looks like. So this is what we are talking about. This is the Allium Cepa. We can see how it looks. So this one here has purple to brown coloration. We have those that are white also. Now this is what the cut diagram or the labeled diagram of this particular specimen looks like. We can see this part here called the modified compact, and then underneath it is where we have the adventitious roots. We can see all of this part here, the coating, we call it the leaflet here, the outer coating to the tunic. Now inside it, this fleshy part here that is actually being eaten is what we refer to as the bulb scale itself, and then on it has the foliar stem. So that is basically what this crop is looking like. We can see the stages of growth in this particular organism. From the seed, when the seed germinates, it sprouts and then becomes a seedling. The seedling develops to become a full plant, and then the season of the ripening continues until we have a ripe onion. So that is basically what this particular specimen looks like. So we'll move over to specimen J now, which is our yam tuber, and that is the Dioscorea rotundata. Dioscorea rotundata is our specimen J, and that is the yam tuber. Looking at the classification there, we have the kingdom to be Plantae because it is a plant, so it is belonging to the Plantae, and the phylum is the Trachyphyta. The class there is the Angiosperma. The order is Dioscoreales. We have the family to be the Dioscoreaceae, and then the genus is Dioscorea, while the species, there are over 800 species of this particular crop. So I just listed out a few of the species, particularly the very popular or the common ones. We have the alata, the rotundata, the esculenta. We have the cayennensis, as well as the polystachya, which is mostly found in China, in Asian countries like China, Korea, Japan, and the rest of those. That is basically where you find the polystachya. Now all of these, okay, so I just used any of these ones here to write out the botanical names. So we have the Dioscorea rotundata. We could also have Dioscorea alata or Dioscorea esculenta, whichever way you want to talk about them. Now yam is a perennial herbaceous vine that is cultivated basically for its starchy tuber. That is why people cultivate it, or why it is actually being cultivated. It is cultivated specifically for the starch that it has in its tuber. It is heavily embedded with starch, so it is rich in carbohydrates. So it is a perennial crop, so it means it completes its life cycle in 2 planting seasons, though it is actually cultivated as annual crop. It is a vine, so when it grows, it creeps on the ground. So it is expected that you actually use or you apply a rod or a pole to support its herbaceous leaf from actually for it to be able to produce very well, so that the tuber will be very, very matured in the soil where it is being stored. Now they are cultivated in temperate or tropical regions. We have this particular organism cultivated in the tropical region or the temperate environment. Now the differences that you will come across in this yam species, they are oftentimes found in the skin color as well as the color of the content of the yam. So the skin is usually rough and difficult to peel, but it softens when it is being boiled. When you boil the yam, naturally you'll not be able to easily get rid of the skin. It is not easy to actually peel off the skin of this specimen, but when it has been boiled, then it is much easier to peel, and it is also noted to be rough. Now this skin, like I said earlier on, it is with the skin that we are able to differentiate between the types of the yam. So we have some of them ranging in different colors, starting from the dark brown through purple or shades of purple to light pink. Those are different colors that you can find for the yam tuber. So this is an example of the yam tuber. We can see it. This is an example, and here we have another yam tuber. We can see that they are different species. This one here has brown color. This one is having something that looks fairly purple. And now if you look at their skins, you notice that the skins are rough, so it is not smooth. So that is what the yam tuber looks like. And so we talk about this as an example of the vines that we made mention of earlier on. This is the vine that we made mention of earlier on. So we can see now, so it is being supported with a rod. You can see the rod. You can see it, that's the rod. So it is being used to actually support the vines, making it possible for them to grow and mature very well for the fruit that is, for the tuber that is stored under the ground. So we have the next specimen now to be the specimen K, that is cassava tuber. Cassava tuber has its own scientific name as well, and we have the scientific name of this particular crop to be the Manihot esculenta. You can see it's written here, the Manihot esculenta. That is what the scientific name will look like. Now this particular crop is also cultivated specifically for its starchy food, for the starchy food it has in it. It is classified as either being sweet or bitter. Now the bitter cassava has a higher portion or percentage of cyanide in it, and that cyanide is a toxic compound, and that is why most people don't even cultivate this particular cassava. But those that cultivate it so that people will not be able to actually pick them up on the farm. So cassava is a woody shrub that is cultivated as tuber in tropical regions as annual crops. They are cultivated primarily because of the edible root tuber, which is actually starchy, or it has high amount of carbohydrate deposits, majorly consumed in boiled form, but can also be used to process. It can also be processed into cassava extracts like the starch, which is used in making tapioca, and it is also used as major food for animal feeds as well as some industrial processes. This particular crop is drought resistant, so you can actually cultivate them in almost every environment, even where there is no water. So that is basically what this particular crop is, and this is the diagram of this particular crop that we are talking about. This is the cassava tuber. We can see it, and we have the leaf at the back here. This is the tuber and this is the leaf of the plant. So you can actually have that. So looking at other pictures, this is what the picture looks like again. These are cassava tubers. You can see this is a freshly cut cassava tuber, and then we have the stem as well as the leaves. So that is basically what we have for this particular specimen. So we'll move over to the next specimen, which is specimen L, and that is ginger. We have the Zingiber officinale as our specimen L, the ginger rhizome. Looking at its classification, we have it starting from the kingdom, which is the plantar A. The phylum is Trachyphyta. The class is the Liliopsida. We have the order to be the Zingiberalis, and then the family is the Zingiberaceae. We have the genus to be the Zingiber and the species to be the officinale. Now this particular crop is a flowering plant, and its rhizome, which is the ginger, is actually the reason why it is being cultivated. It is widely used as we actually cultivate it as spice. We cultivate this particular crop as spice, and it is also used for its medicinal purposes. It is herbaceous and is perennial crop which produces annual pseudostems. The pseudostems are what we refer to as false stems. These false stems, I will show us what we mean by that very shortly. They are made of rolled bases of leaves. We have leaves rolled into forms to actually form the stem, and that is why we call them false stem. They are not actually woody like other plant stems. Now the ginger increases the serotonin. That is the major function of this particular crop. It increases the serotonin and dopamine levels in the body. Hence it reduces inflammation, it also increases it reduces inflammation, as well as it being good for anxiety. It also helps to treat nausea and motion sickness and so many other medicinal functions. When we look at the reproduction of this particular crop, it is produced or reproduced asexually, and the type of asexual reproduction that occurs is what we refer to as the vegetative propagation. Actually, it is called budding. It is budding that actually takes place in this particular crop. So this is what the vegetative propagation of the rhizome look like. So this is an example of the ginger. We have this as an example of the ginger. So let us see what other pictures look like. Now, I made mention of pseudostem earlier on. If you look at this now, this is the stem of this particular plant. This part here is the stem. Now this part here, we said that it is formed from rolled bases of leaf. Leaves rolled into bases. So we can see all of the leaves. The leaves are actually, when you cut off the leaf, you have another one rolling out. So that is what the stem of this particular crop looks like. Now, talking about the reproduction, we have this particular part here as a bud. This is another bud. So when we cut the bud, let's assume we cut the bud at this point here. If I were to cut this bud here, or I cut this one here, I will have this bud here growing into a mature. Yes, if I cut it here, let's assume I cut it at this region here, or I cut it at this region here, I will have the bud growing into another organism, another parent organism. If I cut it out of the parent organism, it will mature into another parent organism, because it will start having its own nodes and antinodes and adventitious roots. So that is basically what the ginger looks like. Now, this is the plant here. You can see the leaves here now. So this is what we refer to as the pseudo stem. They are false stems, not actually real stems. And then underneath the soil is where, or in the soil is where we now have these crops here, this particular stored food, which is called the ginger. Now, there is a need for us to understand that there is another organism that looks so much like the ginger. It is called the turmeric. This is the turmeric here. We can see the color of the back of this organism. It is also a rhizome, and it is also a spice. It looks so much similar like the ginger, but the back is different. You can see the back of this one here having somewhat brownish red color, and inside it we have orange color, as opposing to this one here that is having brown back as well as light brown inside. So this one here is a turmeric, and this is how the plant of the turmeric looks. So we should understand that for what this specimen looks like. So we move to the next specimen now, which is our specimen M, and that is fresh meat. Fresh meat is our specimen M. Now, specimen M is actually a major source of protein for animals. It is a major source of protein for animals, and it is gotten from animals. Now, this is because it contains all the necessary amino acids that is required in the body of an organism. The meat contains majority of the amino acids that is necessary for normal body growth. Now, the meat is gotten from other animals. We have people actually rear animals to be able to feed on their meat, and so for many other purposes. So people actually rear animals, and they actually hunt animals. They use them for hunting. They hunt wild animals actually to get this meat from them. The meat is also gotten from animals, like I said, and it is actually the animal tissue, basically the muscle, that is eaten as food. We have so many types of animals that are being reared for their meat. Example, we have the cattle, the pigs, the sheep, the deer, etc. All of these which are purposely reared, they are purposefully reared for their meat. Now, the types of meat that we can have on different types of animals, they range from different examples, like cattle giving us the beef or the veal. We have pork, bacon, and ham gotten from pigs. We have the sheep giving us the mutton. We have so many examples. We have the venison from the deer. And so all of these animals, when we get the meat from them, we need to process them. So there are so many processing techniques that can be done on fresh meat. Example, you can boil or steam them. You can actually fry them. You can actually roast them. So those are some processing techniques that can be used on this species. So this is example of what we are talking about. You can see this is fresh meat. You can see this one there actually have some cartilages in them, so we can see how they look. So that is basically what the fresh meat looks like. So we move over to the next specimen now, which is specimen N. The specimen N now is a tapeworm. Tenia solium, we have its classification in this form here, in this format. We have the kingdom to be Animalia, the phylum, we have it to be Platyhelminthes, we have the class to be the Cestoda, we have the order to be the Cyclophilidae, we have the family to be the Tenidae, we have the genus to be Tenia, and the species is Solium. And that is why the scientific name or the zoological name is called the Tenia solium. Tapeworm is an endoparasite because it is found inside its host. It is found inside the body of its host, so it is called the endoparasite. And oftentimes it is found in the gut of its host, which happens to most times be man. The commonest host that you find for tapeworm is man. Now, their body consists of many similar units called the proglottids. The similar units are the segmented parts of the body of the organism, and they are called the proglottids. Tapeworms are usually flat segmented worms, and so they cause abdominal discomfort, diarrhea in the body of their organism. Now, the part of the tapeworm has some parts, particularly where we have the suckers and attachments. It is found in the head, which attaches to the intestine, the neck, which can actually regenerate at point in time, as well as the rest of the body, which are the segmented part of the body of the worm, which is called the proglottids. And it is in this part that we have the eggs contained. So this is basically what the egg looks like, the organism look like. We can have this as an example of the organism. We can see this part here. This part here happens to be the head, and this here is the neck. This part here is the neck, while we have all other parts here as a segmented body, and it continues like that. So look at this picture for you to understand it properly. You can see this now. So you can see the head, and then we have the segmented body that looks like tape. So this is what it looks like in the real in the picture of it. So you can have it here. So we have the proglottids here. We can see the proglottids, the segmented part of the body, and then we have the neck that can actually regenerate before we have the scolex. It is on this scolex now that we have, which is supposedly the head. It is there that we have the suckers. We can see what it looks like here. So basically that is what the picture of the tapeworm looks like. So we have our specimen O to be the roundworm. Our specimen O is the roundworm, and its classification, we have it written here. The kingdom is Animalia, the phylum is Nematoda, we have the class to be the Chromadorea, we have the order to be Ascaridida, and then the family is the Ascarididae. We have the genus to be Ascaris, as well as the species being the Lubricoides. So that is basically what the classification looks like, and that is why roundworms are called Ascaris lubricoides. They are also called small intestine worms because they are also found in the small intestine. So they are called small intestine worms. That is another name that they are known by. Now, roundworms are also endoparasites because they are found inside the body of the host. They are nematodes, and most of them are found free living, and so that is because they do not feed ordinarily. They feed on microorganisms, but many others are parasitic. Roundworms have tubular digestive system with openings on their heads. They infect humans via the fecal oral routes. Yes, they infect humans via fecal oral routes. That is when humans get exposed to feces that they have laid their eggs in. So that is how we get exposed. That is how humans get exposed to the infection of these roundworms. So the eggs released by adult females are shed in feces, and then infection occurs when one consumes contaminated food or water that contains the eggs of these roundworms. So that is about the roundworm, and we have this as a picture of it. You can see this is the male species, while this one here is a female. That is what the roundworm looks like. You can see the picture here. You can see it. So this is what it looks like as well, and this is a picture of it as well. So we can see this part here as the anus. We have this part here as the ovary, the uterus. We have the genital opening around here. Here is where we have the intestine, as well as the excretory opening, then the mouth and the pharynx. All of these are the parts of the Ascaris lubricoides. So that is basically what we have to say for this particular specimen. And then so we talk about the last specimen, which is our specimen P, the thick. The specimen P is thick, and the classification, we have it belonging to the Animalia. It is an arthropoda. It belongs to the Arachnida. It is the Exodidae. The Exodidae is the order. We have the Exodida is the order, and then the family is the Exodidae. And then genus, we have it to be Exodes, and as well as the species being the Scapularis. So that is why its scientific name is called the Exodes scapularis. So we have it there. Now this particular organism is not like the others that we have talked about. This one is not found inside its own host. It is found on the body of its host, and that is why it is referred to as the ectoparasites. They are found outside the body of their host, and that is why they are referred to as ectoparasites. Ticks particularly have 4 pairs of working legs, 8 in total. We'll see pictures of that shortly. They have 8 legs, 4 pairs on either side. Now they have 2 segmented bodies. That is the head and the abdomen. They have 2 segmented bodies. The head, or we sometimes see them as the prosoma, and the abdomen. And then they are found on many animals with fours. Those are the animals that actually carry them as those are the hosts that you usually find these organisms on. Animals that actually have fours, that have hairs on them. Example, we have dogs, we have cattle, we have horses, so many others like deer, antelopes, and the rest of those. It is on these animals that we have what we refer to as ticks. Relationship that is found between the parasite and the host is what we refer to as the parasitism. Now looking at pictures, now we have something that looks like this for the picture of this particular organism. You can see this is what a tick looks like. You can see the diagram here. You can see the 4 pairs of working legs now. Now it has jointed legs now. So the 4 pairs of jointed legs. Are we together? 4 pairs of jointed working legs. That is what we have there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is another picture of it here. You can see. So this is a diagrammatic expression of what we are talking about, a label diagram. And we can see the legs, the head, and the rest of those. So that is basically what this particular specimen is looking like. So now you understand what the specimens of our biology 2024 agri science practical look like. I will encourage you to try as much as possible to go through all that has been discussed once again. Go through them again so you familiarize yourself with everything that has been discussed. Know your specimens, know characteristic importance of these specimens, know their uses, as well as care for some of them that actually have the care that you can work with. Try as much as possible to share this video with your friends. We want to get comments from you, so please try as much as possible to like them. Let's have your take or questions in the comment section. Share them with your friends. Let them also benefit from what you are getting. If you are new to our channel, if you are just watching our channel for the first time, or you are yet to subscribe to our channel, please try to do so. Subscribe to our channel. Get yourself free access to easy notification on subsequent uploads when we put our articles up on the channel. We want to hear from you, so please don't forget to drop your questions or your comments in the comment section. We wish you success in your exam, and thank you very much for being along with us. Bye for now.